Again, I'm kind of keeping the focus on today. We have a game Saturday at 4:30, unless someone tells me otherwise. And really, we just have to focus on what we need to do to prepare. And that's our full expectation, is to get out there with our guys Saturday and go find a way.
There will be a game on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern between the Raiders and the Browns. The commissioner made it clear yesterday. And I know the league had already said no discussions to postpone or change the game. The commissioner said it himself, and he also added that there will be no postponements or cancellations of games. Look, they've got procedures in place that they're not in a position that they need to even tell us about. We've speculated they've got some secret protocol where they could just go out and round up a bunch of guys. Hey, you're short 10 guys, go sign 10 guys. We don't even need to put names on the back of the jerseys. Just give them a uniform and let's go. They're going to play these games. There's too much money at stake. And the extra wrinkle with NFL Network games, there's a certain number of minimum games that they have to televise on NFL Network to justify the subscription rates that they charge to cable companies, satellite companies, streaming services, etc. They have to play that game. They have to televise that game exclusively, and they will, Chris.
Yeah, I expect them to. I do. I like it in all ways except for one, a little bit where it's just like, I do worry, like we talked about yesterday, a little about player safety. Again, that could be a thing. All right, so that's the only area of this where I look at to go, ooh, okay. If the number got so big, or like we talked about, one position group got so decimated that, again, signing 10 guys off the street to play offensive line, I don't care that they're offensive line or not. You haven't practiced and you're playing against a full-strength defensive line. Whoa, there's going to be people at danger. Not only those offensive linemen, but
it's not going to stop.
I know you're not. And, that's where I was going to get to. I do like it, too, though. I like it. I was going to say that's my only negative is what I just talked about. Everything else, I'm all for it. Again, it's part of the 2021 NFL season. You got to compete with COVID, too. And, that's just the way it is, and there's no excuses as far as that's concerned, and teams and people have got laxed everywhere, all over the country. We know that. And, from that standpoint, I kind of like that they're going to push forward.
The Browns have 18 players on the COVID-19 reserve list. Baker Mayfield landed there yesterday. Washington has 18 on COVID-19 reserve. The Rams have 16. Here's the reality, though. You got 69 guys on your total roster.
Yeah.
You only need 48 absolute maximum on game day. You can't have more than 48 in uniform. And to get to 48, you have to have 8 offensive linemen dressed. That's 21 guys right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I know injuries are going to dissipate it to a certain extent, but, the magic number, the minimum required number of players is between 48 and 11, and I have a feeling it's closer to 11 than 48. But I think one of the emergency options, if it would ever come to it, would be to allow a team to go out. There's so many guys out there every day. We see the transaction list. We see the tryouts. There are players out there keeping themselves in shape, players who are part of the 90-man rosters during training camp and preseason.
Right. Yep.
Boom. Bring them in. Bring them in. You need an offensive lineman, bring them in. You need 5, bring them in. You need a quarterback, bring them in. Do whatever you have to do. Do whatever you have to do. Because we're playing these games.
Yeah.
They are not going to cancel these games. And now the question becomes, Chris, given that they're going to play these games no matter what can they do to tweak, to adjust, to maybe revise and revisit the procedures that are in place as relates to vaccinated players who test positive but who are asymptomatic? And I am a combination of proud but also very alarmed that they seem to be listening to us on this.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, we're just here to, for the audience's benefit, and we reserve the right to say what you should do, but we really don't think you're going to listen to us. But apparently they are listening.
They should.
To our suggestion.
A lot of our ideas are good. Yeah.
Players who are asymptomatic and positive should not be banned from the team, especially when guys are playing the day before they test positive. And they were positive when they played. They're not transmitting this during games. It doesn't transmit from one player to another during games. Positive, vaccinated, asymptomatic, there's no reason they shouldn't play, and it sounds like the league's starting to come around to that.
It does seem that way. It does. And, I think, again, there's the science that backs that up now. I know there's the people out there be like, I've been saying this all along. Oh, yeah, you have? You didn't know. You were just saying it and you got lucky. I could probably look at 20 other things you said all along that are way freaking wrong. So shut up. is what I want to say to some of those people. Like, shut up. Okay. But yes, ultimately, I think the science, is showing, there is some proof to that makes sense. I think if they do that and then get back to, again, something that's happening up here in, the tri-state area, the New Jersey, New York, Connecticut area, especially New York, it's about to happen. Like, masks are about to go back on up here. That's about to happen. It's kind of caught fire up here in this area once again, and that's still one of the best ways to prevent transmission. And I would imagine at some point here that the NFL is going to have to start going, no, we need masks in the facility, mandated 100% of the time. It's just the way it's got to go. I think if, you can do that along with what you're saying, players can feel safe, feel good, and, hopefully we can limit the amount of guys that are out of a football game on a given week.
We've had the masks back on for a while here. Now, it's kind of like honor system. If you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. If you're unvaccinated, wear a mask. What it boils down to is the people who are vaccinated wear the masks and the people who are unvaccinated don't, but that's just kind of how it works.
Yeah, it's not going to matter here anymore, I don't think. I think it's vaccinated or not, you're going to have to put the mask on. Yeah.
And the NFL needs to adjust to where things currently are, and they need to come up with ways to prevent the spread of the virus in the facility. I'm a big proponent of daily testing. The NFLPA is back on the we should test everyone every day train, vaccinated or not. The NFL was urging that back in September, and they went, I told you so yesterday on the NFL, although I don't know that's the best way to reach the right. It's a tenuous, delicate relationship. You don't need to be dunking on the NFL. You were right, okay? Just be happy you were right, and let's focus on getting it right. The NFL's position is testing doesn't really matter. It doesn't limit the spread because the NFL believes most of these cases are happening where, Chris? Not in the facility. Guys going to the bar, guys going to a restaurant, guys living like they did in 2019, not like they did in 2020. And that's the way to get this under control, folks. Your favorite team, you want it to thrive? You want it to get to the playoffs? You want it to advance in the playoffs? You better hope there's player leadership like a Tom Brady that's going to tell everyone, hey, no more going to the club. No more going to the restaurant. We got to live like we did last year until the Super Bowl, or we're not going to win it again. Because all these other teams aren't going to do what we're willing to do.
No doubt.
You got to be willing to make this sacrifice if you want another ring. You like that ring? Pull that ring out and look at it. You want one to go with it? You want to make cufflinks out of them? You got to do this again.
Yeah.
And the team that is the best equipped to do that and get that message across and police themselves from within the ranks of the players, that's the team that's going to prevail.
No doubt, 100%. Again, we've had this discussion a lot over the last 2 years. It's another competitor in the arena. Is how you can handle this and who can be disciplined enough not to, put their team and their players and, players realizing, wait, this isn't smart for, 30 of us to be hanging out the night after a game in this small room or whatever it is. You're just going to have to make those sacrifices for right now to get the big prize at the end of the season. That's what it takes. So what? You're getting paid a lot of money. It stinks. I know that as a player. You want to be around teammates and, people in general. You feed off that energy, but, it is what it is right now. And we're seeing a little bit of a surge everywhere. And, you don't want it to ruin your season, bottom line.
And the key is asymptomatic. This Omicron variant, although it's widespread, all indications are it has reduced symptoms. More than 100 players have tested positive since Monday. Roughly 2/3 are asymptomatic. This is where the protocols have to develop, they have to evolve, and they have to be pragmatic. This idea that just because you tested positive, if you don't have symptoms, and if you're going to be playing games in this setting where it doesn't transmit from one to another, and you're vaccinated, there's no reason to think that a guy shouldn't be able to play, and hopefully we're getting to that point. Because even though the games are going to be played, I want to see the best players. Chris, you want to see the best players. We talked yesterday about Chris Jones not being available for the Chiefs tonight.
Stinks.
We're not seeing the best players.
Yes.
It undermines the integrity of the outcome of the game.
100%. I mean, again, Saturday, Browns, Raiders, stinks. I mean, the Browns are not going to be at 100%. Head coach, Baker Mayfield, there's a lot of guys. I mean, there's going to be guys that aren't going to make it. They're not going to be able to play. That just stinks, yeah. We want to see the best product. We want to see the best teams get in the playoffs for the best watch then. And we don't want this to affect to let some team that's lesser than get in the playoffs. And then, we get to wild card round and we go, oh, man, they lost by 30. That game stunk. Well, yeah, they shouldn't have been there. The teams they played down this stretch had COVID or whatever else, or whoever they were competing in to get in the playoffs with had COVID, and that affected it. And that won't be good for the ultimate, bottom line product for the NFL once the playoffs come around.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.